Comp Eliminator. Comp Eliminator, you should be in the lane. And first call, Top Sportsman to the lane. First call, Top Sportsman. Comp, you should already be there or certainly be rolling by now. Hughes, 887, Bailey, 893, 167.
Ding dong, ding dong. That's the doorbell ringing. Top Dragster, Comp, and Top Sportsman. You all have been called to the lanes. Top Dragster, Comp, and Top Sportsman. We need all y'all. I mean, like everybody in Top Dragster, everybody in Comp, and everybody in Top Sportsman that was here for the April event. Top Dragster, Comp, and Top Sportsman for the April event. Need you in lanes, please. That is if you want a time out.
Chevrolet side, Jerry Mellis, Ray Skillman side, Eisenhower gets there. Dead on the index with a 9. They were identical 18s on the tree. Mellis runs off by 6 at 896. Chris Balkin out of Guilford, Indiana, in the dragster in the Chevrolet lane. Dennis Brown in the Ed Quay car over there in the Skillman side. We've got to get this April race done today, guys and gals, so we're going to need a little better response to the lanes when we call you today. Well, looks like Balcom may be having some kind of a problem or a leakage. Not sure if they're shutting him down or... Yep, shutting Chris down. Dennis will get the single. $890, 459 for... And next up over here in the Ray Skillman side, looks like a single for Tyler Bohannon as we're just at the back end of Super Comp. So Tyler's Nelson dragster looks like he's going to be the last of the Super Comp. Bohannon 17 on the tree and a 10th off 903, 164. And again, Comp, Top Dragster and Top Sportsman. You are all on call to the lane. Top Dragster, you be up first, then Comp, then Top Sportsman. You've all been called. Head to the lanes, please. And I just got around to asking Warren, were we on the air yet? We welcome all our D3 listeners, D3 TV listeners and watchers, too. Now, y'all think it's August, right? That's wrong. It's not. It's April. It's April in Indiana. It's not raining, though, which proves it's really August. But nonetheless, you're tuning in August for the April D3 TV race. And then we'll moved to August tomorrow. That shows you the time really does fly. So, welcome to the D3 broadcast. A day longer than usual. We started out our normal Thursday test and tune. We did that on Wednesday. So Thursday, we're going to do the April event, and then we'll start the August event tomorrow. So stay with me. I'll let you know what calendar month we're in as we go along. Yeah, Bob says it's day 105 of the April race. It'll be me, Mike Coyle, and Bob Hunkefer will be your announcers.
It's Groundhog Day all over again. Or
Yeah.
deja vu all over again, as Yogi would say.
Yeah.
God bless Yogi Berra. Man, had some great lines. Absolutely tremendous. Well, looks like our 6-second rocket ships going to be giving it a shot. Mike Coughlin was the number one qualifier back in the day. Again, these are time runs, not qualifying runs, as we work our way through, giving everybody a shot at the racetrack, and we are just about done with time runs. It's about time to get serious. Little starting line prep. Look like a little fresh, sticky stuff going down. And we will be ready to go. Top Dragster Comp and Top Sportsman. I just heard somebody in the background say, we're ready. So that means it's time to fire up Mr. Mike and Mr. Marty. Cheeseman, of course, a long time name here in Division III competition in the Alcohol Funny Car Wars. Right now, tuning this Spitzer chassis, blown Hemi combination. With Marty and of course the ever popular name here in Division III competition. So Mike, your number one qualifier. Marty, your number two qualifier. Again, time runs before we get into elimination. Blowers, Prochargers, Turbochargers, nitrous oxide. Everybody gets one power adder, but you can't be greedy and have two. Big cubic inches coming up for some. Not for Mike and Marty. 520 cubic inch range. the Jags machine, a Dan Page chassis car. The Pro Charge, fuel injected. Pro Line engine. Second shooters a pair. 608-222 by Coughlin. 604-229 for Marty. Mike was 007. Marty was 16. I think those two gentlemen might be ready to come out and play for round number uno. Dan Norris and Al Pete were on next. Pro Charge Denver. Trucking company owner over out of Illinois. And Norris down from the great state of Michigan. Another blown Hemi car, this time in a Mike Buzz chassis over there on the left-hand side. Sure do like the tower here, didn't he? Rather than being behind the cars, you get to sit alongside of the cars. Rather than looking at the back of the scoop and the back of the tires, you actually get a chance to gaze down upon the race cars. Of course, I am still of the contention that the best announcing booth would be about equal to the 60 or to 100 feet off the starting line alongside. Gives you the perfect opportunity to look down upon the cars. And if they get into a smoke fest, you're not waiting for the smoke to clear to see what the heck is going on.
I absolutely agree. That's the perfect place.
But we all know that the perfect world does not exist except for in our own mind. So we will wait patiently for the day when the first fully covered track with the announcing deck at 60 feet off to the side. Dan Norris goes through 6:10 at 225. Norris significantly better than his qualifying number, 6:40 by Pete. Al was 2 out of the gate. But that's his time run. That gives him a little something to tune from, work with, and get ready to go for round number 1 of eliminations, which will be coming up shortly because as soon as we get done with Top Dragster Comp and Top Sportsman, it is time for round 1 of eliminations. We will start with Super Street and Stock, Super Gas, and Super Stock, and Super Comp. Back into Top Dragster and Comp and Top Sportsman, and then back into, well, you get the idea.
You know, if that perfect booth was ever built, Bruton Smith will build it.
No, he won't. I don't think. Because Bruton likes to sell the seats alongside the track and not give them up to the announcing staff.
That could be, but one day he might decide he just wants to make announcers like it.
And when one of Bruton's tracks builds the announcing deck at the back of the building, because all we do is watch it on monitors. I mean,
well, that's a good point.
God bless him, but, you know, we do need to be able to see what's going on down the racetrack. Ryan Keener up in the Atkins chassis car over here on the right-hand side. Mr. Martino, as in Tom, there on the left. God bless Bruce. He's got some great tracks. Went into one of his new tracks many years ago, and they had the announcing booth at the back of the building. 642, 209 by Tom. Ryan's just going to kind of ease on down the racetrack to 1422. 99-mile-an-hour run. As soon as he clears the top end, we'll get Mike Trout's machine. Beautiful undercover car over there on the left-hand side, one of our bottle babies. And Emily Novak at the blown combination for the 19-year-old youngster coming over from Hawkeye over there in the. Got a whole lot of corn growing this time of year, kind of like around here. Trout up on the left-hand side over there, the Ray Skillman Auto Group light. runner out of Kentucky. Emily was your number 5 qualifier back in April. She qualified in with a 6:14. Obviously, conditions a little bit different today than they were back in April. Yeah, blue sky overhead and less humidity in the air to begin with. Emily with a 6:06 this time around. 226 miles an hour. Trout with a 6:54 at 203. Madison Ellison. Madison up the team race pack. Women Rock. Cancer support vehicle over here on the right-hand side. Really thinking about Madison's dad, Lynn, coming off the win at Columbus last weekend. Hydroplaned the car. One of the rainstorms. Understand he's in a back brace for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Going to preclude any activity in a race car, obviously. So it'll be up to Madison to carry on the family tradition. The APD engine machine over here on the right-hand side. Christina Lawyer, the Ford power plant for the Doctorate of Engineering lady over there on the left-hand side. The young lady out of Boonville, Indiana. For mechanical engineering and a bad blown Ford over on the left-hand side. Of our younger ladies going after it here. 6:34, 2:15 by Christina. 6:34, 2:12 for Madison. Somebody fibbed to me. I understand Lynn is here. Maybe it was an old post. That was from 3 years ago. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the up-to-date information being passed on to me. Of course, then again, that was a rapid recovery for Lynn, I'm sure. BJ and Michael rolling up next. Sheila at the wheel of the Bantam for the Norwalk-based runner. The powered machine, doing it a little bit unconventionally. Jay Sexton over there on the left-hand side. The Racetech chassis car. .649 by BJ. 177 miles an hour. Make sure we got good brakes down there on the other end. You can see the laundry coming out of both cars. And it looks like everybody's going to make the bend. Michael Shields, 27, 221 miles an hour, a much better pace than what he qualified at. Lynn Ellison, I need to apologize. I was giving misleading information by Mr. Rich. Going to have to take Rich out back and slap him around a little bit. Zach Sackman up now, the Hankstafers.com, Novak Electric over there on the left-hand side. And Shanna Snyder, Vintage Trailers. Chassis machine for the young lady out of Elkhart. She's right down the road that way, he said, pointing that way. Wow. Sackman went 6:08.0 qualifying in May. Runs 6:08.4 qualify or running a time trial in August. Or day 105 of the April event. Shanna 661, 212 miles an hour, well off her 623 pace. Speaking of the aforementioned, Lynn Ellison, who did not have a wreck after he won Columbus last weekend. Understand that was an old post that got reposted that somebody rebroadcasted from about 3 years ago. And Tom Fisher, Angry Tom, which is affectionately known, the gentleman going through kidney dialysis and awaiting a kidney transplant. 74 years young. Over in the right-hand side, and if you know Tom, he'll probably say, dag nabbit, gosh darn it, a couple of times today. The Pro Charged entry for the RacingRVs.com. Patriarch. Ellison goes through 6:31, 2:13. Tom Fisher, 6:47 at 210 miles. Tom was 10 on the tree. Lynn was 19 on the tree. And I'm here to tell you, boys and girls, I think the top dragster contingent has arrived on site. Day number 105 of the April race, ready to roll. Everybody seems to be ready to slap them around a little bit and get after it. Tony Elrod up now. His Servant's Heart. Lone big block entry over there on the left-hand side. And Joe Fisher, Boss Man, RacingRVs.com. And, of course, RacingRVs.com, the official national championship sponsor for our top dragster and top sportsman category. But boy, did they have a nice rig posted on their website for sale the other day. Woo. I liked it. Of course, my budget couldn't afford it, but I liked it. Like we're down to our final three in our top dragster field. Tony left, Joe right. And JB coming up next. Last number, 002 light, Tony. 008 light by Joe. 613 by Fisher at 224, 642. 212 by Tony. B will be last but not least the dragstersforsale.com. Entry for the runner out of Evansville. Comp Eliminator getting ready to roll up next. Nice to see all of our sponsors back for the Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund and the Ray Skillman Auto Group Indy Gear Comp Shootout for 2017. More about that in a minute. Our film at 11, as the expression goes. JB up on the left. The Oakley Pirate entry, one of the quickest nitrous cars in the country. And I mean that sincerely. That's a bad hot rod. JB qualified for the April race 104 days ago at 6:13. 218 miles an hour. Go from a 002 and a 008 to a 10,000s light by JB. Runs 620 this time around, 215 miles an hour. Now, each and every one of our contenders in the RacingRVs.com top dragster class has had their shot at the tree. Comp Eliminator getting ready to come up next. Again, the Comp Eliminator Bonus Fund. Tip of the cap to this year's sponsors. Ray Skillman Auto Group, Indy Gear, of course, not only sponsors of the bonus fund, but the comp shootout coming up in a few weeks down in Bowling Green. T&E Auto Haulers, Liberty gears, bullet cams, Trend composites, diamond pistons, Rala competition engines, RCE, Cohen Racing, Brow Bell Housing, Camplain Machine Shop, Billingsley's Car Wash, Don's Machine Shop, and of course C-Tech Aluminum Cabinets. All of them helping make life here in Division III competition a little bit more enriching, rewarding for all of our comp eliminator field. Again, tip of the cap to everybody that pitches in to make comp what it is. And I love comp. Competitive eliminator. To me, this harkens back to the original days of NHRA. I'm sure all the racers have heard me say this before, but it's kind of like, you know, if you got an engine and your buddy's got a chassis and your other buddy's got a body, you could put it all together. Somewhere in Comp Eliminator, we got a class for you because we got big V8s and little V8s and inline 6s and V6s and little 4-bangers and blowers.
Yeah, if you can think of it, Comp Eliminator's got a place to put it.
And inside of Comp Eliminator, there's, Mike, I'm going to share this with you. There's a new announcing term. It is an announcer word that I made up that I think best describes Comp Eliminator. Ingenuity. Because you got engineering and ingenuity. Okay? All rolled into one here in Comp Eliminator.
I'll buy that.
You'll buy that?
Yeah, that's right on.
All right, we'll put that word in Webster's in.
Well, they've certainly added stupider words than that to the dictionary in the recent past. So you wouldn't be at the bottom of the intellectual list with that word.
You mean I wouldn't be number 100 out of 100?
No, you'd be way up there. Some of that stuff they've added lately.
I might get up to 50, huh? Woo! Brian Brow and Neil Giroux are getting ready to come up. B Dragster automatic for Neil. In a Frank and Scott Parks, Neil and Parks chassis machine. Got the Oldsmobile sitting behind Neil. Brian Brow with the little 4.3 V6 combination in his D Dragster. Brian, your number one qualifier 104 days ago. We'll see what he's got here on day number 105.
Yeah, I love this class because when you're sitting around wanting to build a race car, I got a motor. I wish I could find a class to run it in. Well, that's Comp Eliminator. If you can't find a place to run your motor and your chassis combination, and you don't think it'll fit in Comp Eliminator, I hate to be rude, but you need to find somebody that can read English to read that rule book, because somewhere that car and motor fit.
And if it doesn't fit here, change the rear gear and take it to Bonneville.
There you go.
Might need to make a few other minor modifications, but speaking of Speed Week, I think it starts this weekend.
Well, is our rain out there?
No.
I mean, we're here and it ain't raining, so it probably is raining somewhere else.
My house. Got another 4 inches last night at my house.
Oh, my.
It looks like the Mop and Go crew way down there at the end of the racetrack, right at the turnout. Got a little bit of cleanup that they're doing. And they're working all the way down there to stay out of camera range up here because...
Well, there's that hard-working new division director down there at about 800 feet,
Yep.
checking every foot of the track. Jeff Conley. Hey, first call Super Street, and remember you're on the west side of the track. And on the west side of the track, as on the east side, our lanes are all the same. If you're in an odd numbered lane, you're in the right lane. If you're in an even numbered lane, you're in the left lane. One's all the way to the right next to the fence. Use lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Super Street, round 1 to the lanes now, please.
Yeah, what he said. Super Street, round 1. Need your lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. What'd you say? Odds right and evens left? Got it.
That
Odds
is
right
correct.
and evens left. 1 and 3, you'll be in the right lane, the Chevrolet lane. 3 and 4, you'll be in the Ray Skillman Auto Group side of the racetrack.
Actually, we finally got the lanes numbered correctly a couple years ago, and it's the same on both sides. If you're odd, you're left. If you're even, you're right.
Well, I'd have to be in the left lane all the time.
Me too.
Petro Joe says he'd be right there with us. We got 3 odd guys there in the left lane. All right, Brian Brow, the V6 Brow Bell Housing Machine. Right down the road in Lafayette. And Neil Giroux over here on the right-hand side, the Elizabethan, Illinoisan. Well, he's from Elizabeth, Illinois. Let's put it that way. Neil was your number 14 qualifier. Brian Motors through 743 at $153, 805 by Neil. Neil's car looked very lackadaisical leaving the starting line. Yep. Yep. 173 miles an hour. Mike points out that may have been a high gear start, which is a good possibility. A strong probability.
Yeah, I've never done that. I hear other people have.
I've never crawled into the car and forgotten to turn on the air bottle either.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
never pulled over 330 feet because I forgot to turn the fuel pump on either.
I resemble those remarks. All right, a little cleanup there on the Ray Skillman side of the racetrack. Before we continue on, with the next pair. Looks like the little 6-cylinder machine. Mr. Bone going to be pulling up. He'll be rolling into the beams. Right alongside, I do believe, Mr. Bailey. Super Street, need you to lanes, please. Round 1 of eliminations. Super Street, round number 1 of eliminations. If you would like to be in the Chevrolet lane, the right-hand lane, we need you lanes 1 or 3. If your preferred lane of choice is the Ray Skillman Auto Group, our left-hand lane, we need you lanes 2 and 4. Well, it looks like we're about ready to fire back up and get back at it. Bones J. Dragster getting ready to roll in. Ronnie, number 11 qualifier back in April. 47 under the index. He has been running much quicker than that since. I love that little 6-cylinder Ronnie. Late model Chevy Trailblazer motor. Gotta like all the comp guys. Check out the new cars as they come out. Look at the schematics of the engine and go, oh man, that could be a hell of a comp motor. Jeremy Bailey's B Dragster automatic. Schmidt powered. Cohen transmission. 450 plus cubic inch. Combination for Jeremy there on the right hand side. Probably coming down from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Unique little race car. J Dragsters. A few more appearing as more and more people getting tuned in and turned on to that little 6-cylinder Chevrolet. The inline. Got to keep it in the RPM range it likes to run in. 757 at 156. 727 for Mr. Bailey. A little bit quicker down the racetrack for both of them than they were able to muster back in April. Day number 2 of the April comp event. We're now on day number 105. I like it. Deja vu all over again. Frank Cervelli rolls in now. Another B Dragster automatic entry. This time runner out of Danville. Don't they have the Frog Follies in Danville? Isn't that where the Frog Follies are?
Yes.
That's what I thought. And Rick Brown. Rick who's
Evansville. Down south.
What goes on in Danville, though? There's something that happens in Danville. Something automotive.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I've never been to it. I have been to the Frog Follies.
Been to the Frog Follies? Rick Brown's B-Truck automatic, a truck that was originally conceived back in the 1999 year. They started putting it together and building it for the battle in the ill-fated pro stock truck category. Now running 318 cubic inches, a mouse-motored Chevrolet. Rick Brown at the wheel, the Redditch and Brown and Tom Perdue. So Chevrolet S10 was having a pretty decent weekend at Columbus last weekend, and all of a sudden the truck just turned loose off the line and left way before the tree was activated. I could have sworn I heard Rick say dag nabbit all the way up here. 742 by Cervelli at 129 miles an hour. 827 by Rick. 162 miles per. Top Eliminator with the one session back in April, and obviously not everybody able to muster a full bore pass. But they were on the qualifying sheet, and that's the important part, because if you're on the qualifying sheet, you can come back and play for race day, which, by the way, is today, and which, by the way, we need Super Street to the lanes, please, and Robert Bailey's. A Gano Dragster does the burnout, backs up, and going to get pushed off to the side. Something for Robert. Obviously not happy. Todd France wheeling the Johns in France. C Dragster automatic over here on the right-hand side. Todd was number 12 qualifier back in April. 7:14 lap. .704 by Todd, a tenth better than what he ran in qualifying, 186 miles an hour. Steve Ambrose, another inline six-cylinder, this time out in front of the driver, and this time a Ford instead of a Chevrolet. And Greg Camplain's Mount Comfort RV, Lucas Oil, B Econo Dragster over here on the right-hand side. Ambrose and Greg Camplain, 694, 162 by Greg. That is 400ths of a second better than he was back in April. Ambrose goes through 771. That's a 69 lap for Steve, because he was 781 and 59 under back in April. You like the way I did that math real quick there? I didn't even have to take my shoes off. I was able to do that on both hands, all my fingers. Brian Stufflebeam's V8, the A Econo Altered, coming up next. Right-hand side, and Mike Farrell's B Street Roadster. Well, if you like your race cars red and white, I'd say we got a good pair for you. Mikey and his dad CJ over there on the left-hand side. Number 4 qualifiers. Back on the day that was 778. Out of that 34 Chevrolet bodied machine. Stufflebeam's A Econo Altered, little mouse motored Chevrolet, single 4-barrel, automatic transmission. Stufflebeam was your number 16 qualifier on that day. At a 713. Back in April, they had one shot to get down the racetrack, and obviously some of them did it well, and some of them did it, well, not so well. Perfect light by Stufflebeam. Oh, my. Top Eliminator runner goes 0-0-0 and a 7.79 at 134, obviously shutting it off. 845 at $1.16 by Farrell. Again, obviously shutting it off down at the other end of the racetrack. Jason Cohen, the 4-cylinder Chevrolet, getting ready to come up next. And Alan Wilson, the Super Mod Automatic. Lucas Oil entry for the runner out of Kokomo. Former Phil Unruh, super stock comp Eliminator car. Alan and the gang picking it up about mid-year last year. Took them a few runs to get the car figured out, get it down the racetrack. All about getting the chassis set up where they want it. Get the car to leave the starting line the way they want it. It's like 2-pair comp, and then we're going to turn Mikey loose with all the top sportsman guys. They're going to go quick and fast too. Oh, goody.
Fast and loud. Oh, that makes a good name for it too.
I think it's already been used. 8:07 by Jason at 159 miles an hour. Allen shuts it off to a 10:46 shot. So we go from a four-cylinder Chevrolet dragster to a four-cylinder 32 Bantam bodied machine. Chad Vogus up on the left-hand side. Chad picking up a win over at Heartland Park, Topeka a couple of weeks back. But this little four-cylinder Chevrolet did not start life as a four-cylinder Chevrolet. Started life as a 500 cubic inch aluminum ProMod style engine, if you will. Chad and the gang at Vogus Motorsports locked it down on the table, fired up the bandsaw, and ripped it in half. Jahan, 250 cubic inch four banger is half of a 500 cubic inch combination. Okay, altered automatic. Brace Skillman's D Super Mod machine. We just saw Wilson's D Super Mod automatic car go down the racetrack. Let's see what the Skillman's car is capable of doing.
You know, Bob, that just confirms what we said, because even if you only got half a motor and a buddy with a car.
Yep. Chad's machine launches straight up off of the line, rocks back on the wheelie bars, and Chad goes, something's not right. 839 by Skillman. 160 miles an hour, and Vogus' hot rod comes off the line and rolls to a stop down there, just about 342 feet? Somewhere thereabouts.
Within a foot or two.
Within a foot or two. So Chad will, fortunately, be able to come back, or we hope, for round number one, but obviously not going to get the time run in this morning that he would like to have had to be able to tune from.
So that is our last competition eliminator pair for the time runs. Top sportsman at the ready line. And that'll be our last of the time runs for the April race, day 105. Then we'll be getting underway with Super Street as our first class in round one. So Super Street, you should be in the lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, both sides of the track, when we give you lane assignments, the odd-numbered lane will put you in the right lane. The even-numbered lane will put you in the left lane. And that is true on both sides of the track. Well, Chad got her going, and he's about to turn off down there. They're going to go out and do a little inspection down the track, see if there's any reason to not start putting top sportsman cars down the track. And again, I'd like to welcome our D3 TV viewers and listeners. We'll be starting our elimination, I'd say, unless something changes within 30 to 45 minutes or less. So, again, if you've been sitting in front of your computer or TV since April waiting on this race, good news. 105. So, yeah. So, if you've been waiting since April, by golly, our goal is to get you off the hook by the end of the day. And you can come back into the present for tomorrow's race. All righty. I hear him say we're going hot with the first pair. Over here in the Chevrolet side, I got a great big Hemi in the Avenger of Sean Brady out of Prospect Heights, Illinois. 762 inches of Hemi power. Chad Peckrell out of Eagle, Wisconsin in the left lane. His 68 Camaro, 765 inches of Chevrolet. The number 14 qualifier left side, number 6 qualifier right side. Hemi Avenger and the big block 68 Camaro. And they're rolling up now into the stage lights. We'll send the first pair down the track. They're off. Peckrell turns on the red light. The Camaro gets there first, shuts off the clock 684. Way about 3/10 under what he ran in April. 675, 204 Just a couple 300s faster than he ran back in the first 5 days of this event, 100 days ago. Bad Eye Brenninger over here in the Chevrolet side. Out of Middletown, Ohio. The 03 Mustang, 714 inches of Chevrolet over here that's a Ford, 714 inches of Ford in the Chevrolet lane. I got mixed up there for a second. Over on the Bray Skillman side, got Scott Kruger out of Prior Lake, Minnesota. 54-year-old VP of Manufacturing in a 521-inch Hemi-powered Chevrolet Cobalt. Numbers 10 and 20 qualifiers up there on the line. Again, if you're just tuning in, or if somebody just woke you up and you realize it's day 105 of the April points meet, welcome to D3 TV. Baby Kruger has to pedal it. Got it to bouncing back and forth just a tad. Brenninger, 690 at 199 miles an hour. Just about 6 quicker than 105 days ago. Subpars 916, 100 mile an hour for Kruger. Tim Kerman in the Chevrolet lane out of Morris, Illinois. The TK Racing Pontiac Grand Am. 638 inches of Pontiac. Over in the Ray Skillman side, Tim Molnar out of Seville, Ohio. Molnar Racing 02 Pontiac Grand Am. 632 inches of Chevrolet in his Grand Am. Number 7 and 13 qualifiers. green lights, everybody nice and straight at the finish line. Molnar 681-201. Pick up about 3/10 from the spring, 679-203. Pick up about 300 for Kerwin. Or Kerman. Tim Irwin. Of course, if you're from Portland, you're either sponsored by Mosier Engineering or you've been there once or twice. The 96 Illumina, over here on the Chevrolet side, 706 inches of Chevrolet for power. Mick Snyder, Mick out of Vermont, Indiana, up there northeast of us, in the power transmission, 63 Corvette out of Snyder Motorsports. It's over there in the race Skillman. Number 3 qualifier, back when this event started. Irwin was number 12. Two different power headers. Got nitrous over here in Irwin's lane and a blower over in Snyder's lane. Snyder will get there first, 6:15-229. Irwin pedals her early, goes across 899. Yep, could have picked up, but time run only. Nobody will be changing position no matter how fast they go. Over here in the Chevrolet lane, I got Kyle Kemp. Kyle's back in the door car. The 92 Trans Am. Him and his dad Andy built. He's over here in the Chevrolet side. Qualified number 11. Over in the Ray Skillman side, Glenn Butcher. Glenn's out of Doylestown, Ohio. Into Butcher Racing 69 Camaro. 762 inches of Chevrolet power in Butcher's Camaro. I'm not sure I'm buying what's on the screen over there in Kyle's side, but it says 500 inches of Toyota power. Now, that would be 2 or 3 Toyota engines in most cases. I'll have to ask his dad Andy when I see him down there later and see what that really is. I'm betting it's General Motors. At the finish line, it'll be Butcher, 6:51-211, about 800s better. Kyle picks up about a quarter of a second, 674, 199 miles an hour. Rich Smith out of Wentzville, Missouri. He's next up in the Chevrolet lane in the R.L. Smith Trucking, 68 Camaro. Over 600 inches of GM power. Over on the Ray Skillman side, Shane Cohen. Cohen out of Pittsboro, Indiana, sponsored by the 1911 Grill and Speedway Carden. It's on Main Street over here next to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. in the '04 Corvette. Again, over 600 inches of Chevrolet power for Cohen. Number 22 and 25 qualifier. Again, the qualifying spots from the April race not necessarily indicative of what the cars are capable of, as we only had one round of qualifying. The track was pretty good, but the weather was pretty bad. So what they're running today is likely more indicative of their power and ability. Although it will not change their position because the qualifying ladder was closed back in April. And again, for those of you listening to D3 TV, right now today, only running the cars that were here in April, that were entered in the April race. And Rick Smith, 673.205, a pickup of 6.5 seconds. 7:28.85 for Cohen, a pickup of 20 seconds. That's kind of unusual.
That's what happens with your qualifying runs or your back-to-back runs for 140.
Yeah, there you go. Eric Burnett. Eric out of Charlestown, Indiana. Professional machine service sponsored Chevy Cavalier. Over here in the Chevrolet side. Over in the Ray Skillman side, Mark Sanders. Mark out of Harrison, Ohio. Cincinnati firefighter. PK race car sponsored '05 Cavalier. Over here in the Skillman side, both of them big block Chevrolets. Both are likely to pick up a bunch, as they were qualified at 12 and 13 seconds back in the spring. Sounds like Burnett's a turbo car. Pair of minor red lights. Burnett's going to pick up a bunch. That's 43. 222 miles an hour. Sanders, 778 at 175. Lester Johnson in that popular 55 Chevrolet. 521 inches of Hemi power. Out of Cynthiana, Kentucky, over here on the Chevrolet side. Over on the Ray Skillman side, Jeff Sexton out of Fairborn, Ohio, over there next to Wright-Patterson Air Base. Sexton's Automotive, his Chevrolet Cavalier, 632 cubic inches of Chevrolet power. Again, welcome to the D3 TV listeners. They're all 8 and 19 on the tree. 55 Chevy gets there first, picks up a couple over his spring run, 6:13, 229 miles an hour. He was the #1 qualifier at 650. Sexton slows a bit, 692, 199. About 7 slower than the spring. Roger Wellman over there in the Ray Skillman side out of Gallien, Ohio. Carter Electric 97 Pro. Well, sounds as though we're shutting them off as we need to work at getting the car clear of the turnoff down there on the end. Looks like we're down here for a few minutes while we clear the end of the track down there. Where's your brother, Brandon? Shouldn't he be here in Super Street? Broke? Bummer. So as soon as we get the track cleared down there on the big end, we'll get Jerry Albert and Roger Wellman going. I believe what occurred is a parachute caught one of our sand barrels down there at the end of the track. So we're doing a little excavation work. Playing at the beach, yeah, that's right. Fixing that down there, and then we'll get back underway. as we're getting near the end of our top sportsman time run so we can get into round one, day 105 of the spring points meet. You hear the sounds of the motors? They got it all cleaned up down there at the other end. We'll get underway now. Chevrolet Lane, Jerry Albert out of Avon, Ohio. Mickey Thompson Tires and Jake sponsored Camaro. He's number 9 back in the spring. Well, I guess he's number 9 right now, ain't he? He's in the Chevrolet lane. Roger Wellman over in the Ray Skillman lane out of Galion, Ohio. The 97 Pro, number 19 qualifier. And a tree coming down, here we go. Wellman turns on the red light. Of course, that has no effect during a time run. Albert will get there first, 690, 199. Couple hunt faster than the spring. 743, 187. Bill Riddle. Bill out of Brighton, Michigan, the Corrigan Race Fuel. 89 Camaro. Over here in the Chevrolet side. Over in the Ray Skillman lane, Don O'Neill. O'Neill, sponsored by VP Racing Fuel. 99 Monte Carlo. He's over there in the Ray Skillman side. Retired 23-year U.S. Army veteran. Don, and I quote my screen, his lovely wife, Diane. Numbers 15 and 16 qualifier back in the spring. Riddle's way early. Sound like he broke something. Engine went up right away. O'Neill, 690. 3 on the tree, 690, 194. Couple tenths faster than his springtime run. Riddle, I truly believe, sounded as though he may have broke something. Looks like we're going to end the category with some singles in the right lane. Starting with Ricky Atkins, 37 Chevrolet out of Milan, Michigan. The Atkins race car, 37. You know, of all the good-looking top sportsman cars, that Mustang body right there, to me, is about. First call, stock eliminator. First call, stock eliminator, round 1, 2, the lanes. And Atkins off and running. Drifted a little toward the center line, kept it off. 672, about half a second faster than this time. 203,000 amps. Next up, Mark McDonald in that beautiful Dragsters for Sale 67 Mustang out of Booneville, Indiana. 598 inches of forward power. McDonald 666, 204, a little slower than the spring. Don Peon out of Mansfield, Ohio, the 97 Monte Carlo, 598 inches. A big block Chevrolet over here in the right lane. Another single. Looks like we got one more after him. Six, 28 flat. Racing Jason Lynch, Cars Protection Plus, 03 Grand Am. Racing Jason wasn't able to get down the track in the spring either. I'm betting he's going to pick up a bunch. Racing Jason 683, 206 miles an hour for the Grand Am. And one single Super Cup, and then we go into round one Super Street. Stock Eliminator, you should be on the way to the lanes. Stock Eliminator should be in or on the way to the lanes. $897.148 for Kevin White's Nova, and the first pair of Super Street at the ready line.
Well, Mikey, I think it's time for round number one of race number one for the weekend.
Yeah, it's unusual to be in the same race and still in it after 105 days, ain't it?
It is. It's like an endurance race. Barney Barnhart and Larry Zepchinski. Hey, I got a thumbs up from Warren on that one. 1090's on the board. Two go down, one come back. The one that doesn't get a comeback gets to head over to White Castle for some sliders. Downtown to St. Elmo's for some shrimp cocktail. I can't think of the word. Are off to numerous other facilities because race day will be done. There goes Larry. Here comes Barney. Close it, top end, quickly, finish line, gets it. 91.7 by Barnhart. 139 miles an hour, beats Larry's 1094 at 1.23 for speed.
Won both ends.
Barney took my advice. Instead of being last, he came up first. He seems to do better when he comes up first. Mark Smith, the attorney, taking on Scott Stillings. Now, Scott will be a bit of an unknown because Scott had problems with the Vega. Did not get to make a full lap. In fact, if I remember correctly, he cruised across the finish line at a pedestrian light, 56 miles an hour. But out of the gate they go. We'll see how good the longtime racer is at dialing in the Vega. Looks like he's got the nose out in front. Goes 1099. Mark Smith says, I'll take it. Thank you very much. 1096 at 127. And some days time trials are not highly overrated. Bob Schmidt and Jay Wilson, first generation Chevy 2 for Jay. Over here on the right-hand side, Schmidt with the second generation Chevy 2 over there on the left-hand side. Runner out of Ohio, left lane. Runner out of Illinois, right side. Meeting up here in Indiana in the middle. Red light, good night by Robert. Robert's day is done. He is James Bond red, 007. Too quick out of the gate. Jay gets to bring the sandbagger. Chevy 2 back, 1092 at 136. Nick Looney up in a T-Bird. Taking on Freddie Squires in the Chevy 2. The Novi, if you will.
Squires got that common sponsor, myself.
Otherwise known as Visa and MasterCard.
Yep.
It would be the VISAMC sponsorship. Ooh. Nick Looney, 004, 1096, good for the W. Squires, a little late out of the gate, goes down to the other end of the racetrack, and I don't know what Fred was watching. May have been the phone looking for text messages, but obviously wasn't the finish line. In 79 by Squires, taking the stripe, let's just say by a lot. Stock Eliminator needs you to lanes, please. Round number 1. Stockers to the lanes. Round number 1. Denny Napier's Vega. Pam Keener's S10. They're in, locked, loaded, and Pam goes red. Way quick out of the gate. Denny Napier was perfect. The runner out of Pataskala goes 000. 1097 at 139. Pam 1096 at $129. And Pam's day just became a spectator day rather than a race day. Cropfeld's Vega. Here's Mikey's Vega. Coming up again, the little Vega wagon.
Love that car.
Loves that car. Reigning division champ. That's good reason to love that car. Craig Meyer had a couple of final round confrontations last year. The runner out at Kendallville. In that beautiful 62 Plymouth Fury. Like I said earlier, Mother Mopar had a sense of humor back in the 60s.
Well, that's a real Mopar guy that'll run that car that long.
10901 beats a 10909. Cropfeld was 005. Meyer was 007. Margin at the stripe was 006. What's the old expression? Be 00, take 00?
You betcha.
Meyer just did it and sent the reigning division champ back to the pit area. Randy Ship, Wayne Kelly rolling in next. Ship's Camaro. Wonder if Ship's Camaro is going to set sail for the other end. Ship setting sail.
I got it.
Okay, you had that look on your face, Mike. I was just making sure.
That's my normal look.
Okay. Wayne Kelly gets the W though, 1095 over Ship's 1094.
Should have put the sail up a little higher.
Yep, needed to catch a little bit more wind on that one, especially leaving the starting line, because that's where Wayne Kelly won it. 15 to a 40 light, and then taking the stripe and the wind by 13 at the other end. Well, there went Randy. Here comes Ricky. Let's see if his ship sails a little bit quicker. Taking on the firefighter, paramedic, out of Oak Forest. Wonder how far in advance he had to put in for days off to come over.
Yeah, no kidding.
23-year-old youngster at the wheel of the 490 cubic inch. Big motored Chevy 2. Second generation right side, third generation left lane. This will be good. Finish line winner pickers. Just give it to Ricky. He was 13 on the tree. Goes 004 at the stripe for the win on a 1098. Hooten was 008, goes 1099 and gives up the stripe by 004. It's enough to make you say words like gall darn, Chucky darn, and gosh dang it when you see that time slip. Rodney Boyd and Ray Miller. Remember Miller's Monza had a myriad of maladies leaving the starting line this morning. And he is red in this one. 007 by Ray. Rodney Boyd says, "Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much." Gets the round win and a tune-up 1086 at 132. Miller goes 007 red, 1085. After the mountain of problems this morning, race day is done. By the way, I made the comment earlier that when you got done, you had the opportunity to head off to White Castle. If anybody's going, let me know. Tom Keenan and Gary Rogers rolling in next. I know Craig Sullivan went yesterday. Red light start by Gary Rogers. Tom Keenan on the left-hand side, the 70 Chevelle. For the runner down from Saginaw. 1082 at 130. Tom says, hey, I'll use it for a tune-up run. Gary Rogers goes 004. Runs 1086. Too quick on this end, too quick on that end. What's the old expression? Two wrongs don't make a right? Didn't work there either. Brian Horton, runner out of Ohio. That's Jurassic. How do you say that? How you been pronouncing that? I don't know. Jurassic. No, I'm talking about the name. I know how to pronounce the city, Elyria. Jurassic. Okay, well, we'll go with Ed. That's the Chevrolet powered Mustang. I've got to meet Ed. I've got to ask Ed that question. Brian Horton up alongside of him. Could be interesting down at the other end. Pretty tight out of the gate. A little bit of an advantage going to Ed. But it's Brian that gets the win, 1094. 136 miles an hour. 1097 at $135, 23 thousandths of a second behind Horton's Malibu once they got down to the other end. Nick Vogelsang, the 62 Chevy to the Looney Tunes. Taking on Scotty Sattler's Malibu over here on the right. Big block Malibu, mouse motored little Chevy too. What you got doesn't matter as much as what you can run. You can run consistent 1090s with the car down at the other end, and Nick can. Makes it tough on Scott. Just like that. 1095, 95 miles an hour, 8 thousandths of a second. Down at the finish line, the victory for Nick. Sattler goes through 1098, 138. Scott had the better light. Nick gets the win light. Nick gets to come back and play, and Scott can he can head on over to the 500 track and take a tour of the 500 track. Tour of the museum.
It's open every day.
Open every day. And for all of our racers here this weekend, we're keeping it open all day, every day. Chuck Campanella and Chris Balcom. Balcom had a pretty strong weekend last weekend over Columbus. See what he can do here this weekend. He gets the win, 1094. 118. He was 16 on the tree. Campanella was 005 out of the gate with the Roadrunner.
And took way too big a bite.
Got down to the other end of the racetrack, and all I can say is Chuck should have eaten before he raced because he was obviously hungry. Got down to the other end of the racetrack, took a large bite of the finish line. Donnie Moyers. Camaro up next, the Pickerington-based. Big block 67 Camaro taking on that big block powered, 76 Vega. Zach, you could see the car lurch. He almost caught it, but he dropped the top bulb. That constitutes a deep stage. That constitutes a you're out of here on the time slip. 1098 at 139 by Moyer. 1138 by Zach.
Boy, Moyer was right, wasn't he? An all-out 1098.
1098 at 139 and 33 on the tree, and Zach's going to look at that and go, oh my. But you know what? You don't have to wait 2 or 3 weeks before you come back and try it again because we'll start all over again tomorrow morning.
There you go.
That's it.
Super gas, 1, 2, 3, 4. Super gas to the lanes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, odd right, even left. Pick the lane you want, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Dennis Bodensteel, 1086 on the double breakout. Gets the win over Stamps, 1082. I guess Rex posted up a too quick run for the Stamps Racing.
They're both my regular bracket racers.
You would think that they would have a grasp of the situation. Scott Mackey, Byron, the Babaloo Racing, little Chevy too. Stock Eliminator, you're coming up next. If you're not in the lanes, you're late. Super Gas, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Super Gas, lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4 now for your first round of eliminations. Super Gas, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come on down. 1 and 3 staging lanes for the right-hand side, the Chevrolet lane. As Mackey goes through 1096. Super Gas needs your lanes 2 and 4. If you want to be on the left-hand side of the Ray Skillman Auto Group side of the racetrack here at Lucas Oil Raceway, home of the U.S. Nationals. Do need to have dial-ins on the right side, boys and girls. Right side. Lucas Oil Raceway is a right-hand facility. Dial-ins on the right-hand side of the car. Left-hand side won't do us any good. There's no mirrors over there, and if there were, we'd be looking at the numbers backwards. Right-hand side dial-ins, kids. Need to see you. Dial in on the right-hand side, and since this is a random pair, no heads up, first round of eliminations, we will need to see the dial-in for each and every car on the right-hand side. The right passenger window. If you're not sure which side of the car is the right-hand side, it's the side of the car that you would go to let your dearly beloved better half in on. If you were taking them out to dinner at like White Castle or St. Elmo's or somewhere in between.
Well, it's pretty simple. If you look at the big building on your left, you see it don't have any windows. If you look at the big building on your right, it has windows. That's where we're at.
It all depends on which way you're facing, though.
Well. Yeah, I think there's a drag racing announcer on TV that struggles with that.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'll leave that one untouched. Nope, not me. Not going to say a word.
Well, I'm at least going to stop there.
Alrighty then. Round number 1, Stockers, Aaron Allison. And Robert Utzler, 12-second to a 10-second. 2.5-second handicap start. First pair out of the gate. I like it. I like big handicap starts.
They spelled his name wrong. That's Usler.
Usler?
Yeah, it ain't supposed to be a T there.
I've always seen it spelled that way. All righty, Bob Usler. Usler? Usler. 1279 the dial under the extreme window tint. Signs and graphics. Multi-hued, multi-colored. Malibu wagon over there on the left-hand side. Always wanted to race a wagon and have somebody in the sign business like him do a graphic print of kids and dogs plastered up against the back window. Yeah. I just, thought, hey, if you're going to do it.
That would be good.
If you're going to do it, enjoy it.
That would seem correct.
It would. Either that or have groceries splattered, all over the back.
Yeah. Broken eggs,
yeah. Hamburger raw and all that kind of good stuff. Aaron Alice. I told you, my mind goes off on different tangents. You got to watch. Round number 1, first pair, stock Eliminator. Allison's B-Stick. LT1 powered Pontiac Firehawk over here on the right-hand side. Going to give up that big handicap start to Robert. There goes Robert. Aaron has to sit and wait, and there goes Aaron. Third gear. High gear. Yeah, that little 350 starts screaming towards the other end, trying to catch the wagon, and he does. 1044 at 119. 1286 by Robert. They were pretty much dead even out of the gate, and at the finish line stripe, Aaron Allison, your winner. Chicken dinner by 17 thousandths of a second. Can you say close? Ronnie Trotman's H-Stock automatic. 71 Nova. 350 combination right-hand side. Michael Rook's D-Stock automatic. 1120 to an 1127. The difference in the dials. Trying to pick up a little bit of an advantage out of the gate. Trotman Chevy 2. But at the other end, it's going to be Rook getting the win. 1122 on the 20. 1132 by Ronnie. At 113 miles an hour. I think Ronnie got down to the other end of the racetrack, and he's going, oh, diddly do, I'm going too quick. Stepped off the throttle to only 113 miles an hour, and Michael kept his foot planted and says, see ya. And on to round number 2 he goes. Dan Condon, Bill Simsprot. The Copo Camaro, 1021. Simsprot's F-Stick, 327. Chevy 2 over on the right-hand side. Not quite 2 full bulbs on the tree for Bill. He won't be able to get out 1 full Mississippi. And a red light start by Simsprot. 005, too quick out of the gate. Simsprot a motor on down track, but Condon gets to come back and play. 1023 at 132 on his 1021 dial. 1106 by Billy. At 119, Joey Ship in the Skillman Chevrolet, Skillman Auto Group. 350 Nova, taking on Jim Whalen. Now, Jim, who had problems in the GM Performance Parts Camaro in the one-time run this morning, left a trail of smoke and a trail of liquid way down track in the shutdown area. Hopefully it was nothing major. It appears they got it fixed. He's back, dialed in 1070. There goes Joey. And Jimmy goes red. This one's over with already. Ship gets the win. And the Skillman Chevy 2, 1178 on the 1184. Joey may have been holding a couple there. Just saying. 1077 by Whalen at 124. 1178 on the 1184.
Well, at least with this double event thing, your red light in the first gives you a time run into tomorrow.
That's it. Chuck Weber now and Tom Gillum. Chevrolet's a pair. The 70 Z28 right side. Stick shift 350. Weber's F-Stock automatic. Corvette on the left. 8350 but with the automatic. Weber 1089. Tom on a 1084. Blinkety blinkety blink. Down comes the tree and away they go. Weber out in front. Gillum going to try and run him down. Weber grabbing a hunt out of the gate and gets the win at the other end. 1092 on the 1089. 1089 by Gillum on his 1084. 36 thousandths. The margin of victory for Chuck Weber's Corvette down at the other end. Jason McGinley and Joe Marcinowski. McGinley and Marcinowski. Orthodontist in Claremont. McGinley and Marcinowski. Could be. Whoop. Joe goes red. Jason goes red. Ooh, they both go red by 0.02 of a second. Marcinowski goes redder. Anyway, McGinley gets the win. 1088 at 123 for the C-Stock automatic Camaro. 1165 on the 1167. Joe was quicker out of the gate and quicker down at the other end of the racetrack, and he's out of here in round number 1. Bruce Mayrose, the Buick Apollo. Alan Hollingsworth, the Pontiac Formula. A little starting line maintenance there. Bradley says, hold on a minute. I want to make sure my starting line is good for everybody. Bradley says, hold on a minute.
Get out of the way, kid.
I want
Jeff will
I
do
want to
it.
give it I want to get the blower fired up.
See, Conley knows that machine.
Brad says, okay, Jeff, you could use the big one. Bradley was down there muttering words like, where's a cold beer when I need one? So a little starting line prep. Bradley says, okay, I like it. Mayrose and Hollingsworth getting ready to go at it. A pair of cars coming off the GM assembly line way back in 1973. The Buick on the left side. Pontiac on the right-hand lane. Let's see, the Firebird would have come out of Zanesville, Ohio in 73.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
And I think the Apollo would have come out of Arlington, Texas in 73. I may be wrong on that. That's going back a few years. That's dusting off a whole lot of cobwebs in the cranium up there. But I do believe the F-bodies of Zanesville is correct. Arlington, I don't know. Arlington may be right for the Novas and the Buicks and the Pontiacs and the Oldsmobiles. I'm sure somebody will send me a text message here in a moment and say, hey, you dummy. No, it wasn't. My friends like to keep me in line. Hollingsworth too quick out of the gate. Bruce gets a win. Gentleman transplanted Kansan, now living in the Hoosier State, goes 11.97.0. Wow, talk about being on the dial. Dead on with an egg. At 110 miles an hour, 11.37 by Hollingsworth. 116 miles an hour down at the other end of the racetrack. But for Hollingsworth, the red light negated anything else he could possibly do. Going down the racetrack. Kevin Skinner's factory stock A automatic Cobra Jet. Out of Columbus joint and clutch. Remember, Kevin in the opening round or in the time trial session had some problems. Did not get an elapsed time out of the Mustang. It just kind of scooted right on through the starting line beams. Bob Marshall, the boss man over at Eastland Crane. Down in 11.38. He gets the big handicap start. And here comes Kevin on an 866 dial. The Cobra Jet picking him up, putting him down. Picking him up, putting him down. And gets there with the win. Dead on 2, 12 on the tree. 14 thousandths package for Skinner at 149 miles an hour. Bob Marshall is dead on 1 on his 11.38 dial. But Marshall gave it up on the starting line with a reaction time that started with a numeral other than 0. And when Skinner was 12 on the tree and dead on 2. Well, let's just say that Marshall had been automatically eliminated at that point in time. We just didn't realize it yet. Todd Kuhns, Pontiac GTO, taking on Brian Merkel's Pontiac Firebird. 455 GOAT, the LS-powered bird. Are we at a zoo? A goat and a bird? Merkel 1081, Kuhn on the 1130. They're away clean to green. Although I will tell you, one of them's green light is a pretty shade of green, and one of them's green light is a real dark shade of green. Kuhn goes 11:26 on the 11:30. Merkel runs 10:83 on his 10:81. Gets there, gets the stripe, gets the win. Brian, in the immortal words of Arnold, will be back. George Wright's Mustang. The 9500rpm.com entry over there on the left. Donnie Beeler's Corvette on the right. Little stick shift, 350, 4-speed for the runner out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Right out of Carlton. Giving chase, and the Mustang gets there. 10:61 at 128. Wow. Donnie Beeler, 11:13 on the 11:15. And the difference down at the finish line stripe, let's just say that Donnie Beeler is next in line for the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Conductor's Cap for the train length at the finish line that cost him the race. Drew Whalen's Lucas Oil Firebird. Chris Stevenson's Pontiac Firebird. Of course, Stevenson coming off the win last Sunday afternoon over in Columbus Town. Taking on Drew Whalen's Lucas Oil Bird for the runner out of Rochester. Drew off and running, Chris off and running. It's going to be a good old race. Stevenson coming off the win last weekend, trying to keep the streak alive, and he's out in round number 1. 10:64 on the 10:68. 11:51 by Drew on the, 10:51 by Drew on the 10:53. Both drivers under. Drew by 200ths. And Stevenson by more. That's the one thing about drag racing, from hero to zero. Well, he can start all over again tomorrow. Justin Soldat, the Mustang out of Michigan. A little too quick out of the gate. 002 red. And Billy Dyer, late model Mustang, the factory stock K entry, 11:52 at 99 miles an hour. We'll be back. Justin's machine. 12:74 on the 12:73 against Super Gas. You should be in the lanes. Round number 1 of elimination, Super Gas. You should be in the lanes. 1 and 3 for the right-hand side, the Chevy lane. 2 and 4 for the left-hand side, the Skillman Auto Group. Side of Lucas Oil Raceway. Danny Tools, little V-stock automatic entry. 4-cylinder Ford off and running. Here comes 440 cubic inches, the 69 Barracuda, and the ATI Performance Parts Cuda. Did a little hop, skip, and a jump out of the gate, and that's all Danny Tool needed. 15:09 for the win. 11:03 by Doug Duels' machine. Doug inside that car. I can hear him now underneath the helmet. Obviously disappointed in the performance of the Cudas and left the starting line. But Doug, as everybody else, gets a fresh start tomorrow morning. Dale Massengill's 79 Aspen, a runner out of Kokomo. 360 F stock automatic entry, and Donnie Turk's in stock automatic. 74 Pontiac over there on the left-hand side. Mike Coyle telling you a little bit earlier today that not having some problems with his other car, able to get the Grand Am out. And it's going to be Turk getting the win, 12:16 on the 12:15, and he was 17 on the tree. Massengill, 11:35 on the 11:33, but once again, when your reaction time starts with a numeral other than 0, it's definitely not a good indication that things are going your way. Denny Elman's stick shift, 350, convertible Camaro, taking on the 400 cubic inch. Pontiac Firebird, Tim Gillespie with Julie Behrman at the wheel. Little E stock automatic bird, 11:09 for the Pontiac, 11:73 for the Camaro, and this one's over with. Denny Elman just punched his own ticket. 27 thousandths of a second too quick out of the gate. Julie will get the win, and she'll march on down the racetrack. 11:10 on the 11:09. Down at the other end of the racetrack, our K-Stock Automatic Buick Apollo getting ready to come up against the Factory Stock G Dodge Challenger of Luke Ubahar. Luke on the left-hand side, the runner out of Bristow. Where is Bristow, Indiana, Mike?
You know, I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
You live here.
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to double check on that. David Garrity's Apollo getting ready to come up on the right-hand side. Bristow, Indiana. Ubahar Woodworking. Wonder if he makes kitchen cabinets. I need some new kitchen cabinets done. Might have to give Luke a call. Way up north. Towards Illinois or toward Michigan? Or kind of in the middle?
But it's right below I-80.
Alrighty. It's a suburb of I-80. Okay, then. Look at the wheel of the Hemi-fied Challenger, 1042. Garrity's K-Stock Automatic. The Buick over here on the right-hand side, 1174. The dial for the Buick. Well, Luke Ubahar is going to get the win as David Garrity goes red too quick out of the gate. We have determined that Bristow, Indiana is the home of the RV Hall of Fame. Is that what you said? Recreational Vehicle Hall of Fame. Didn't know there was such a
RV
thing.
Slant Motorhome Hall of Fame. I didn't even know that existed.
Cool. 1053 by Luke, 1180 by David. See, you come to the drag race and you learn something new every day. Matt Antrobius up the Baldwin Motion. Chevy Camaro over on the left-hand side. Tension in the pits. Attention in the pits, please. Super Stock needs you to the lanes now for round number one. Super Stock. Your turn to, as they say, come on now. Antrobius off and running with the Camaro. Here comes Daryl Steigers. 340. Six-pack Dodge Challenger. Antrobius 1135 for the win at 115. 1093 on the 1088 by Daryl. That's over by 3. Daryl's over by 5. Margin of victory, another 5. And Gary Merritt going to be the winner in his Camaro. McKinley's Pontiac over here on the right-hand side. The runner out of Lebanon. Motored on through, 1180. 1044 by Merrick. Camaro on the 1040 dial. Everybody quick out of the gate. McGinley was quicker than Merrick on what would have been a pair of red lights. Bob Michaels, 62 Grand Prix, little 389 combination. Taking on Craig Marshall's Dart Sport. E-Stock Automatic entry.
And boy, that's a good-looking Pontiac.
Oh.
Good-looking when it was new, but you don't see many of them.
Don't see many of them at all anymore. Bob was at the race last weekend in Columbus. We had a 63 Catalina out of Colorado at Heartland Park, Topeka a couple of weeks ago. So a pair of classic early 60s, 389 Pontiacs. Get to partake of the drag racing wars for the last 3 weeks. Michael on the left, 12-16 on the 15. 11-15 on the 11-12 by Craig, but Marshall by 8 thousandths of a second. Better at the finish line. Bob will have to wait to come back tomorrow and try again. Rodney Long's F stock automatic, 350 Camaro. Bill Owens front wheel drive. Pontiac Grand Am, 14-14 the dial, 3.5 second. Handicap start. That's a quick approximation there, 3.5 seconds.
You know, I have nothing at all against front wheel drive race cars, except it's just wrong to put front runners on the back.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to have, some vision in life. There goes Bill. Rodney sits and waits for his side of the Christmas tree to come down. You can hear the clock ticking for Rodney. He finally left when it turned green. And it's Owen going to get the win, 14-15 on the 14-14 dial. 11-52 by Rodney Long at 106, and he's short by 41 thousandths down at the other end of the racetrack. And I'd like to go back to Ohio. Rodney, how'd your weekend go? I got beat by a front-wheel drive Pontiac. Bill Skillman, final pair, stock Eliminator, round number 1, Super Gas, already in the water box. Ryan Rudrick's 340 Mopar, Skillman's Little Ford, the 302 entry. Skillman off and running. Oh,
baby.
Oh, baby. Skillman Auto Group, and Bill Skillman goes 0-0-0 and 87 on the 79, gets the win. 29 on a 24 by Rudrick. Rudrick, though, was rut-row in trouble. 72 on the tree, and Skillman was 0-0-0. 40 thousandths margin of victory for Ryan down at the other end of the racetrack. And Mikey, here comes Super Gas.
Yes, it is. I'm speechless.
Cat got your tongue? Yeah.
All righty, here we go. Super Gas, first pair, round 1. 1 down, 2 down, 1 back. Devin Eisenhower, long time bracket racer here at Indy. Started in juniors. He's over here in the Chevrolet side, out of Lebanon, Indiana. Pro Code of Indy sponsor Camaro. He's over in the Chevrolet side. Ken Sanders out of St. Louis, Missouri. Dodge Dakota, Ray Skillman side. They're green. In fact, they both got a 17 in their reaction time, except Sanders, 17, started with a 1. Devin, almost 7 off at 9.96. Takes the stripe. Sanders closer, 93, left too much, laying on the starting line. Doug Croft, his Firebirds over here in the Chevrolet side, 990, the index. Jason Lynch, racing Jason in the cars, Protection Plus Cutlass, over there in the Ray Skillman side. got 2 green lights. Racing, Jason, chasing. And that's straight. Double breakout win. Jason under by 20 thousandths. Croft under by 25. Jason had about 100 in his pocket on the tree. Takes the stripe by 8 thousandths. Connie Rudy. Connie's Gremlin Chevrolet side at Lima, Ohio. Charlie Flanagan out of Maria Stein, Ohio. Flanagan Racing Camaro, Skillman side. And Flanagan, 5 thou too soon, Connie, the automatic winner. In a 996, 6 over for Connie. Flanagan closer to his dial, but left 5 thousandths too soon. Teddy Barlow. Teddy. From Smiths Grove, Kentucky. Retired soldier. Quick Fuel Technology sponsored Camaro Chevrolet side. Terry Knipp out of Lynn, Indiana. 64-year-old plant manager and a Firebird over there in the Ray Skillman side. Small block stroker in the Firebird, big block in the Camaro. Win light goes to Knipp, 991, 1 over. Barlow, 7 over at 997. Barlow was ahead on the tree, didn't run the number. Robert Goodrich out of Greenwood in his commercial team construction Mustang. He's over there in the Ray Skillman side. Steve Hoyt in the Stephen Jans 63 Corvette over there in the Chevrolet side out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Goodrich, he's from Greenwood, south suburb of Indianapolis. And Hoyt leaves 4 thousandths too soon. Goodrich, the automatic winner. 991 on the index. Hoyt strokes on across at 1280 as he was 4 thou too early. Eddie Arnold out of Salome, Ohio. Arnold Engineering Cutlass over to the Chevrolet side. Kenny LaFollette. Kenny's Mustang Roadster out of Sarahsville, Ohio. Over there in the Ray Skillman side. Here we go. Pair of greens. Sound like we're off the stop. Cutlass chasing. Win lane to the Cutlass. 991 on the 90 for Arnold. LaFollette breaks out at 988 too. Richard Spradlin out of Van Loo, Ohio. The Brooks Truck and Trailer Repair Nova over here in the Chevrolet side. Steve Morton out of Trafalgar, Indiana. Retired 63-year-old MRE. Partnership 32 Ford Roadster. And Morton leaves way too soon. Spradlin 000 on the tree. 989 with an 8 for Spradlin. Of course, it was a free run. Driver out the back door, test air. As Morton leaves way too soon. Shane Snyder, Cheeseman Brothers 63 Corvette over here in the Chevrolet side. Going to be a competition single. Jody Davis's Mustang broke in the water. So Snyder's 63 Roadster gets a free lap into round 2. $989 with a 4, 6 thou under for Snyder on that free run. He'll be returning in round 2. Jim Unum's Firebird over here in the Chevrolet side out of Anna, Ohio. Over in the Ray Skillman side, Larry Rodell. Bald Man Transmissions, RCE, Don Davis Roadster, over there in the Ray Skillman side. Win light's going to go to the Roadster. 994, 4 over. Unum took his stripe, took too much of it. He was a little behind on the tree. Made it hard to judge the line. Rodell crosses second, but he is the winner. Bob Prost out of Terre Haute, the Holly Creek Collision Corvette Roadster. Chevrolet side, Tom Head out of Highland, Illinois, the 33 Dodge Roadster. They're off and running. Very similar on the tree. The win line to the Corvette. He's 4 over. Head takes a stripe by slightly over a tenth, breaks out by 700s. Took way too big a bite out of that finish line. Bob Prost around 2. Mike Keenan's Cavalier Chevrolet side out of Coatesville, Indiana, about 25, 30 miles west of here. Over in the Ray Skillman side, Leo Zinda out of Clinton Township, Michigan, and the Ring and Pinion Shop. His Cavalier over there in the Ray Skillman side. Win light goes to Keenan's Cavalier. He's 3 over at 993. Zend is 2 over at 992. Margin of victory, 65 10,000ths for Keenan. David Davis out of Mooresville, Indiana, the 27T Roadster. Firefighter out of Mooresville, Indiana. He's in the Chevrolet lane. Wally Hack and Ray Skillman lane in the Hack Racing Monza. Win light goes to Hack. Hack was 002 on the tree. He runs off by less than Dave Davis. He runs 999. Davis above 10. Tony Cropper out of Georgetown, Ohio in the Beretta and the Ray Skillman lane. Phil Stamps out of Tipton, Indiana in the Stamps Racing Glitter Rat Camaro over here in the Chevrolet side. And the win light's going to go to Cropper. 991, he's 1 over. Stamps is 5 over. Cropper was 5 on the tree for a 19,000s package. Rock Haas, the Don Davis Corvette Roadster. Haas Carruthers Racing over here in the Chevrolet side. Joseph Ferrari out of Exbridge, Ontario in the Ferrari Racing Ford Roadster over there in the Ray Skillman side. Oh, that seems to be wrong. That's really Bobby Deary in the Dodge Colt. And Bobby goes red. Must have had an incorrect number in there. And the win goes to Rock Hoss. It's an automatic win because Bobby leaves 20,000s too soon. Rock was 2 on the tree and 992 at the other end. Bobby was dead on 7, but he left 20,000s too soon. Tim Tyree out of Palmyra, Wisconsin in the Monza Chevrolet lane. Ricky Atkins, Corvette Roadster out of Milam, Michigan, Ray Skillman side. Corvette's off the stop and chasing. Finish line to the Corvette. Atkins dead on with a true 10 foul total package. Tyree was able to take the stripe by 5 thousandths, broke out by 2 thousandths. Rocky Clark, his Grand Prix over on the Chevrolet side, out of Willard, Ohio. Dave Goins out of Plymouth, Michigan, in the DG Motorsports Ford Roadster, in the Ray Skillman side. And Goins, 16th foul before the green. Rocky Clark gets a free lap into round 2, 987 with a 3. Goins runs 1 under, uses it as a time run after turning on that red light. Bob Hansha, 97 Firebird out of Hansha Racing in North Olmsted, Ohio. He's in the Chevrolet lane. Jake Elrod out of Harrod, Ohio. The Sunoco Hoosier Tire Abruzzi sponsored Corvette over there in the Ray Skillman side. And Winlight Elrod, he's 6 over 996. He had 4 in his pocket on the tree. Hanch only 3 over, closer to the dial. Left too much laying on starting line. Bill Ford's Trans Am Chevrolet side out of Mount Clemens, Michigan. 70-year-old retiree. He's over in the Chevrolet lane. Janice Swan. Janice in that Race to Win Motorsports 73 Opel GT out of Mooresville, Indiana. Over here in the Ray Skillman side. Well, Janice got a 10th in her pocket on the tree. Should be an easy win, and is, because she runs a 10th off at 10 flat and takes the stripe by 200s. Ford 2 over, left way too much, laying on the starting line. James Wilson, Sr., out of Milam, Illinois, in the Wilson family Corvette Roadster over in the Chevrolet side. Steve Williams in the manually shifted Ford Probe out of Noblesville, Indiana, over there in the Ray Skillman side. First call, top dragster to the lanes. Top dragster to the lanes. Well, disregard that. Let's make it super come first. Disregard top dragster till later. Super come to the lanes. Super come to the lanes. I should never respond to the first thing I hear. And that win light goes to the Probe of Steve Williams. He runs 93. Wilson, 2 more over at 95. Joe Wilson's Corvette Chevrolet side out of Clayton, Ohio, Dwight Noost. Making bacon rampage out of Counts, Indiana, over there in the Ray Skillman side. And the win light's going to go to Fisher. Noost dead on with a 7. Fisher 3 over because Fisher had 5 in his pocket on the tree. Mike Jurowsik out of Elyria, Ohio, in the Powerhouse Race Cars Corvette Chevy side, Colin Becker out of the Becker Motorsports in Baldwin, Missouri, is over in the Ray Skillman side. We're going to take a little check down there at the end of the track and make sure that with that smoke there wasn't anything liquid. I'm hearing a report of something got dropped on the track. Super Comp, you should be on the way to the lanes. Super Comp, to the lanes, please. So, Super Comp, you should be on the way to the lanes. Top Dragster, you shouldn't be yet. I called for the wrong dragsters first. Top Dragster, you should only be getting ready. Super Comp, you should be on the way. If you're in the D3 TV audience and just joining us, you've just arrived at day number 105 of the spring points meet. Have you got a Fiat decal on the back of that Mopar yet to make it legal? You're ignoring me, ain't you? We're off and running at the finish line. Mike Jurasik takes that win. 993, 3 over. Becker is 5 over, 995. They's almost identical on the tree, but Mike runs closer to his dial. Greg White out of Edwardsville, Illinois. The Herzog's 88 Beretta over here in the Chevrolet side. And Miss Mia via Tedesco. Got that big number 1 on the car. The defending Super Gas, national champion in the Cars Protection Plus Cavalier over there in the Ray Skillman lane. And the win light goes to Miss Mia. She's 4 over at 994. White dead on with a 4. You do the math who got away from the starting line first. Joey Ship. Joey out of Whiteland, Indiana, in the Ray Skillman Chevrolet Oldsmobile over here in the Chevrolet side. And over in the Ray Skillman side, Connor Millwood out of Columbus, Indiana, in the 83 Japanese Challenger. And the win light, Chip. He's 7 over. Connor is 8 over. They were 6 and 12 on the tree. Joey was second off the land with 12, but Joey gets that win. Tim Gillespie over here in the Chevrolet side out of Xenia, Ohio. in the Gillespie Racing 33 Ford Roadster. Over in the Ray Skillman side, Dan Toole in the Mustang Roadster out of Jacksonville, Illinois. And they're identical on the tree win light to Toole. Toole's 1 over, Gillespie's 3 over. They were both 17 on the tree. And the Byron into round 2, Ed Rudick in the Ups and Downs Chassis Service Corvette. Over here on the Chevrolet side, out of Mount Prospect, Illinois. And Super Stock at the ready line. Super Comp, you should be in or on the way to the lanes. Super Comp to the lanes. And 5 over for Rudick on his bye run. He'll be back in round 2. Looks like just a little bit of touch up, maybe a little hand spraying, a little sweeping on the starting line, and we'll head into Super Stock. Oh, and a little dragon.
Again, boys and girls, dial-ins on the right-hand side of the car. Super Stock guys and gals and boys and girls.
The 2017
Need
season
the dial-ins
is here,
on the right-hand
and the
side.
only place to see every heart-stopping
Camaro down
moment
here,
is
first in line.
NHRA
We can't see the dial-in on.
All
You can see the
Access.
dial-in
Friday
on
through
the
Sunday.
right-hand side.
See all
Well,
the
it
action
is there.
from
It's just
sportsmen
too
to the
damn
pros.
small.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
Some
I
of the
see it now.
action? No problem. You can now rewind
I
to
stand
catch up
corrected
on
here. Wait a minute, I'll
anything
slap
you
my-
missed. Over
We
600
apologize
hours of
if the
racing
rule book
excitement.
does
Now
not
only
say you have to be
your senses.
Boy, if you can read some of these tech cards, it almost takes a doctorate in hieroglyphics to read some of these tech cards. Terry Allison's GTI automatic and Eric Reed's GTK automatic going to lead us off in Super Stock round number 1. Again, Super Comp round 1, we need you to the lanes. That means Top Dragster and Comp and Top Sportsman be getting them ready.